Hey guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here. Today, I'm going to be debunking Cosmic Armor Superman slash Thoughtbot Superman. Now, these are just two different titles for the same character. So if you ever hear somebody calling him Cosmic Armor Superman or Thoughtbot Superman, it's just the same character. It's just two different names for it. But I'm going to be sticking to Cosmic Armor since it sounds more natural and rolls off the tongue a lot easier for me than calling him Thoughtbot Superman. I might be calling him Thoughtbot Superman sometimes accidentally, but I'm going to try to stick to calling him Cosmic Armor at least. Now, this topic, debunking him, this discussion as a whole, is going to be kind of, it's going to be kind of controversial because a lot of people sentiments on him is kind of the same, and they also all agree that he is as powerful as has been stated. But from my perspective, I've read this comic book years ago, before I had the YouTube channel, and I reread it again on Sunday, and I got the images. So I've done it twice, and the statements that they've been making about him, I once again still don't agree with it, especially since I was going on a deep analysis on his feats and how powerful he is. So I've done my research, and also I want to talk about the fact that since I did do it on Sunday, I kind of forgot some of the stuff, and I don't want to reread it again because it's going to take too long to get this video out. I have a certain time frame where I need to get videos out. I'm probably not going to get out 2 videos today. I'm only going to be getting out 1 in this one, and tomorrow hopefully I can upload at least 2 because I'm kind of low on time, and on top of that, I just don't have an idea for another video to come out, and I just don't want to throw any crap out there for you guys. So I'm gonna be thinking more ideas for next video, but I do have one in particular, but I need to get this one out first before I jump onto that. So let's get back into this and talk about debunking Cosmic Armor Superman. Before I get into the debunk itself, I want to go through 2 things. One, I want to talk about how powerful he's stated to be by the fans, and 2, the story itself and how he pertains to the story. Now, first, let's talk about how powerful he is. There are multiple statements and sentiments about his strength. A lot of people say that he's 6-dimensional, 11-dimensional. He's not even just multiversal. He's hyperversal. He can control the story's narrative and how it goes by having reality like warping powers, but also has the powers to change the narrative of the story itself. He has all these like crazy claims that he's instantly powerful, and not only is he stated to be the most powerful version of Superman, but he's also stated to be one of the most powerful beings in DC as a whole. So I want to go through that and debunk it because I don't really agree with those statements, and especially the fact that he is one of the most powerful beings in DC as a whole. So I'm going to be going through that, and before I get into even that itself, I'm going to be talking about the story. So let's talk about where did he first appear? He first appeared in the Final Crisis event, and the Final Crisis event came out in 2016 or I think 15. But yeah, it was a couple of years ago, so he's still freshly new, and he's only been shown 1 time and in 1 battle. So there's luckily not too much to go through to talk about him and his power. So I only had to stick to 1. But I will say it is a little confusing because if you want to check out Final Crisis yourself to read it, it's only 7 issues, so it's not too long. But the thing about it is, if you do go on, like, let's say, an online website to read it, it is going to get confusing because if you go to the Final Crisis section, there's countless ones. And the reason why this is the case is whenever whenever there's like a big event in like comic books like or DC Marvel where they have these like big Crisis or Secret Wars events, usually they have multiple other tie-in stories with it. Those stories don't really matter too much to the main story, but it does add on to it. And there was countless other ones. But luckily for you guys, the only ones you need to focus on is Final Crisis and Final Crisis Superman Beyond. That's it. And all this other stuff doesn't really matter. So as long as you focus on those, you'll get the gist of how powerful he is in this comic book story. So let's get into the debunk itself. First, let's talk about him being the strongest version of Superman. Technically, even let's say if he was ridiculously powerful and shown to have more powerful than any other version of Superman, this would not make him still the most powerful version of Superman, simply for the fact that he is not a version of Superman. What he actually is a robot that was created from another machine that creates physical things with just people's thoughts. So he was created from that, and then he had the collective consciousness of Superman and Ultraman, which is an evil version of Superman, built into him. So he technically is not Superman; it's a robot that's in the image of Superman with the consciousness of Superman and Ultraman. Now, if you want to consider him having the consciousness of him as another version of Superman, I guess you can. But to me, that doesn't seem like another version. It seems like a robot that just, programmed to think like Superman. So I wouldn't consider this a variation of Superman. So even if, like I said, he is ridiculously powerful, you cannot consider him the most powerful version of Superman because technically he's not Superman. So let's get into the story itself. And I want to get into you know what happened. So in this event, there was a fight between Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor, and as this fight is going on, the multiverse is getting destroyed because Darkseid's true form is falling, and it's tearing the fabric of reality and destroying the entire DC multiverse. And as this is happening, Lois Lane gets hurt, and she's in the hospital, and she's basically dying. And Superman goes there to attend to his wife, and he wants to try to save her. So at this point, he doesn't care what's happening outside. He's trying to save his wife, but he just can't find a way to save her until one of the monitors comes to the regular realms and makes a deal with Superman. She basically tells him, "Hey, I have this magical like elixir that can heal people from any disease and illness and whatever, and I'll give it to you, but I will need your help." So Superman agrees with her. So what she does is she takes him to another dimension outside of space and time itself, which is Limbo. And for him to get into there first, she needs to upgrade his vision to fourth dimensional so he can see not only through space but also through time. So she does that, takes him into Limbo. Basically, what she was trying to do was she was trying to recruit him into some program thingy. Basically, she collected countless other alternate versions of Superman, and he's there, and he meets Ultraman. They get into a fight. They get stopped by a version of Superman that's a mix of Doctor Manhattan and Superman himself. So he's very powerful. He stops them both, and he's the being that takes their consciousness and puts it into the Cosmic Armor Superman. And Cosmic Armor Superman was created by this machine. I forgot. I think it's called the Mystery Miracle Machine or something like that. And the Miracle Machine basically has the ability to create anything from people's thoughts. So if you think of this or that, it can will it and create it. And because of that reason, it was too powerful to let out, so they hid it. But they used it to create Cosmic Armor Superman to fight this big evil threat, which is called Mandrake, who is basically he's a monitor, but he's a vampire monitor, and he can basically turn other people into vampires. And his goal is to infect the entire multiverse and turn all these people into vampiric beings that serve under him. So they created, Cosmic Arm Superman to stop him. Now the story starts off with once when they put the consciousness in him and activate him, it starts off with a narration through like Superman's perspective. Think of Cosmic Armor Superman as basically if Superman woke up in a robotic body, but that body also had the knowledge of a higher dimension. So he's basically talking through the perspective of Superman and this higher perspective. Now, this is actually very important to his power itself because it does pertain to the statements that are made throughout this, throughout not only these issues, but throughout this character's powers. Because a lot of people say that he's very powerful because he has, reality and story narrative manipulating power, and this does play into that. So he basically, he's talking through Superman. He's starting to realize where he's at, and then he's trying to understand the situation. He puts up, he sees Limbo. Now he creates Limbo with his hand, but I don't know if this is an actual physical representation of Limbo itself, or this is just like an image like how you see in a hologram. The reason that's important is because if it is a physical interpretation of Limbo itself, that would mean that he is so big that an entire dimension like Limbo is minuscule to him in that size. But if it's just like a hologram, then it's obviously not proportional to the size that it would be. But even then, people will argue that he would be way bigger, and this is one of the reasons why people say he's easily hyper-reversal, because he lives in the monitor's realm, and the monitor's realm is outside of the multiverse itself, making it far bigger than the multiverse. So whenever these guys are looking at it, they're looking at, like, when they look at the the multiverse or the planets, they're basically like looking at like miniature miniature figures and stuff to them, like us seeing like toy cars or like toy trains. That's how big they are compared to the multiverse itself. But of how the DC like lore and you know cosmology works, you would understand that the reason that's the case is because since these dimensions are on a higher plane or outside of it, they are bigger. But also you would realize that though technically they'll be a lot bigger, it doesn't really matter because when they come to the regular world, they shrink in size to like regular human size. And if you go from the regular world to their world, you will increase in size too. And this also happens in the fourth world where Apocalypse is at, and a New Genesis. So you can also see that with the new gods, who shouldn't be as powerful as the monitors themselves. So yeah, that's why a lot of people say he's that level of power. But then again, if he's fighting someone, he comes down to the realm, he wouldn't be the size of the multiverse anyway, or bigger than the multiverse anyway. He would just be the size uh, that he would be compared to other people. But he is big. You do see that standing next to the other monitors, he towers over them. He's a giant structure of a being. He's at least like 10 to 15 feet tall, at least that big. So if he was in our world, he would be at least 10 feet big, but he wouldn't be bigger than the multiverse. So let's go back to the whole story. He's trying to understand, and he's seeing through these two different perspectives. Through Superman's perspective, that's a normal way of thinking, and through this higher dimensional perspective, that he's in this other higher more powerful body. So he's looking through this, and he obviously is confused. So he's obviously also not all knowing either. He does have a higher plane of understanding, but he still has a lot of things that he doesn't understand. So he gets into there. They walk into a citadel or some specific area. They get attacked by Mandrake and his vampires. He engages into combat with him, and they get him back and forth fight. Now this fight, when I heard people saying that he's this powerful, that powerful, I assumed that there was gonna be some crazy stuff happening. It wasn't too crazy. At most, it was just them throwing a couple punches and then him blasting him a couple of times. And there wasn't any real crazy statements except for this one where Cosmic Armor Superman gets hit by an energy attack from, he gets hit by one of Mandrake's energy attacks, takes him down to the ground and hurts him. And he's in pain now. And he states that this is the power of, the heat of 10 billion suns and the bleed itself. Now, if you don't know what the bleed is basically it's a form of energy in between the universes in the multiverse. So when you travel through the multiverse, it's not like you just go through one space through another. There is a form of energy which is called the bleed that is in between these universes to cross through, other realities. So it's a little more complex, but the reason I mentioned that is so you guys can understand what he meant by the bleed itself. And in this instance, also, if you think about it, it is somewhat impressive, but it's also not impressive. It's impressive in regular terms. Being able to take the heat of 10 billion stars is insane. But if you think about it, if you're arguing that he's beyond multiversal, that shouldn't be anything special. Or if you're even saying he's universal, because if it's a universal level being, the heat of 10 billion suns, it's not even the explosion of it, but the heat of it should not be doing any serious or significant damage. So the fact that he's getting hurt by it kind of like for me contradicted the argument that he is multiversal or even universal. So he got hurt by that. He got attacked again, and this time he's bleeding. He's actually being beaten down. He's about to lose and stuff until one of the monitors comes back and reminds him about the backstory of Superman, which does give him the strength to stand back up and fight. And as she's saying this, she gets attacked by Mandrake, and he basically kills her. He did not know that this was his lover, so he was like shocked himself. But after seeing this, and after the motivational speech she gave him, Cosmic Armor Superman got the strength to stand back up. Now, a lot of people go by this to say that he has the power to change the narrative of the story. Even if he's losing, he can change it to his own whim and start winning. But that's not the case. He just got the motivation to stand up and got a reason to fight back again. And I guess the argument about the whole, like changing the narrative, the reason I think a lot of people get confused about that is because he has the ability to adapt. He can adapt through harder scenarios. So the more difficult scenarios, he's able to adapt through it. That doesn't mean that he is, can change how the story goes. I mean, there's countless characters out there that are not that powerful, but they have the ability to adapt. So it's more of an adaptive ability than reality or I guess story narrative warping ability. It's more just him adapting. So he's fighting, and they're going back and forth. He stabs him with one of the scepters and blasts him with his energy attack. So they start attacking each other, and they get towards the ending. They're off the edge of I think a building structure or something, and he falls off, supposedly to his doom. And at this point, you know, Cosmar Superman is severely damaged. He was bleeding. He was busted up. Parts of him is like missing. So he's been seriously hurt from this encounter with Mandrake himself. A lot. I remember there was a video a couple of years ago with Seth the Programmer stating that he also has the ability to hear the dead because he killed Mandrake and he said he was still able to hear him, which is incorrect because Mandrake didn't die. He just fell from the Anti-Monitor's dimension back down to the mortals dimension, and he fell through there. That's why he was able to hear him. He was hearing him falling through dimensions back to to our, like, I guess technically our dimension. He was falling to that. So no, he was not hearing him dying. He was just hearing him fall, and through dimensions. So that's incorrect. So don't believe anybody who says that either. He gets back out, and he was so severely damaged that not only is he blind, but he's deaf, and he also ends up dying. You see him as he's talking, his speech pattern starts to go down, and he deactivates. So he does die in this battle, and he does technically, I guess you could say he won, but he didn't defeat Mandrake. Mandrake just got away, and Mandrake actually ended up killing him, where he didn't do that to him. So he did lose. So that would mean Mandrake is stronger than Cosmic Armor Superman, which is important, and I will get into that. But yeah, he lost. He basically lost to him, and he's blind and deaf, and then he dies. And this, to me, like I said, if he was hyperversal, he would have been able to take more than just that. And even the argument about, like, the fact that he lost his vision and his hearing and he couldn't fix that is like, you're telling me that he's that powerful and also has the ability to, like, change the story narrative, but he can't, change the narrative for him to get his sight and hearing back and, save himself from dying? Like, if he's that powerful, then how come he died like this? I mean, if I'm being honest, there's countless characters who have, healing abilities who, if they were to go through the same, situation where they're like, damaged or lost their sight or hearing, they can regenerate from it. So the fact that there's characters out there that are far weaker, they can do that. It just shows that he's not that powerful in general, and he would not have that ability. Because if he did, he could have, fixed anything. I mean, come on, it's just vision and hearing. You're telling me that he can't even fix his vision and hearing with those type of powers? And also, like I said, they say that he's hyperversal and stuff like that and higher dimensional, but once again, they don't show anything. You can look at the comic book itself. You can read, Final Crisis and Final Crisis Superman Beyond yourself, and there's no statements where it stated that he could destroy the multiverse. He can destroy, the universe. They never stated that he was 6-dimensional, 11-dimensional. They never stated any of this ridiculous stuff. That is just the fan base going with it because they made him look kind of powerful, but there's nothing really crazy. The only crazy statement we got was he tanked, the heat of 10 billion suns and the bleed itself, which the bleed itself, you can't really even calculate that. Like, how do you calculate the power of that? And the heat of 10 billion suns, once again, it's impressive normally, but to a character of his level of power, it should be absolutely nothing, and there shouldn't be anything to be too impressed by or be like, oh my god, he can take that, especially if he's supposed to be, multiversal level. So he lost. I don't think there was really anything crazy about that. And then let's talk about Mandrake himself, since he would be stronger than him. it would be fair enough to go based off of like how powerful he is. So when he fell down to Earth, he turned Ultraman into Vampire 2. He's trying to take down Superman, and as this happens, you know, one of the monitors collected all of the different versions of these characters from these other realities and brought them all to here to take out Mandrake. So what happens? They all come there. A couple of the Superman all hit him with their heat vision all at once. At once, it's not all of them, only some of them. You can see in the image, only a few of them did it. They hit him with it, and then the rest of the Green Lanterns construct, a giant energy stake and stab him through the chest, ending up killing him in the process. So he dies by the heat of a couple of Superman, the heat vision of a couple of Superman, and the stake getting staked through the chest by another handful of Green Lanterns. Which, once again, like I said, if these characters were this powerful, they would not be losing or getting hurt by something like this. The fact that Mandrake is stronger than Cosmic Armor Superman, especially due to the fact that he beat him in a fight, one-on-one, but dies from this, shows that Cosmic Armor Superman is not actually that powerful as people say he is either. If he was, then he would have been able to beat a guy that lost to in that way. So yeah, Cosmic Armor Superman is not that powerful. Neither is Mandrake. And I want to go through the statements again about his level of power, him being able to change the story narrative or warp reality had not been shown at all. That was people just misinterpreting what was happening in the story, because they see him narrating the story and like back and forth and stuff, but those stuff, he's basically narrating what's happening in the story. He's not changing the story, he's just talking about what's happening in the story. You see this countless time with other comic book characters, and he's talking about what's happening on Earth and there, because he can see through both those perspectives. And any other like crazy sayings, it was just more metaphorical and more motivational than actual literal. He's not literally changing the narrative. He just has the ability to adapt. Also, being 6-dimensional, 11-dimensional, never stated. Him being hyperversal, once again, never shown. Him being multiversal or even universal level hasn't been shown either. Like I said, the highest power we've seen was him taking the heat of 10 billion stars. We didn't see him doing anything crazy, and Mandrake died in a not a very impressive fashion either. I mean, he got defeated by the heat vision of a couple of Supermen and getting staked through the chest by an energy construct created by a couple of Green Lanterns. If that's all it takes to defeat a being that's hyperversal, then I'm sorry, if you were to put Mandrake or Cosmic Armor Superman against other fictional characters, they wouldn't be having that much of a problem. So no, he's not 11-dimensional, he's not 6-dimensional, he's not hyperversal, multiversal. Hell, you can't even argue he's universal. He cannot change the story narrative. If he could, he would be able to heal himself from the blindness and the deafness. He can't even regenerate from damages like that, and he died in the end of the day. So he is not that powerful. I don't get where people are coming from in this angle where he's this powerful. If you disagree or have a counter argument, feel free to argue that in the comment section. I don't mind talking back to you guys about this, but from what I've seen, he hasn't shown that level of power, and I don't understand why people are classing him at that level of power. I don't think he's that powerful, to be honest, nor Mandrake. And before I end this video, I do want to state that I'll be making sometime in the future, not too far off in the future, but sometime in the future after this video, like I explained early on, I'm going to be making a video debunking Superman Prime 1 million. Because Superman Prime 1 million is just like Cosmic Armor Superman, where he's a version of Superman. This one's an actual version of Superman, which is stated to be the most powerful version of Superman and a godly being and a being in high dimensions and above. So, he is put on ice podium too. So I wanted to go and debunk him also. But that'll be coming in shortly. I don't know when I'll be uploading that, but I'll definitely be getting onto it right after I'm done editing this video and it's published onto YouTube. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too confusing. You could understand what I was trying to get at. Also, I wasn't trying to attack anybody who thinks he's that powerful. It's just I don't understand why people say he's that powerful, and I'm just putting this out there to show that why I feel like it's just not true. So once again, hopefully you guys enjoyed it and it wasn't too confusing. So have a good day.